Hello, friends. I am Gail Mungo Ilatinio. Welcome to Petrolith, and Lillenholde onto your horses.
Of course, they love their children and cherish them and want them, but they're scared.
And why haven't you involved the city?
We've tried, but the monastery is in the counselor's ears more than we are. They won't do anything about it.
Brynox, is there anything you want to know?
Yeah. I'm just so dumbfounded that he seems to think he's wording things in a way that it makes it seem like there's families of children, but what are these families afraid of? Of children who are at the monastery, the families of the children who are at the monastery, what are they afraid of? Those specific children at our monastery, what are they afraid of?
Is that above the table, or are you asking him directly?
No, I'm asking this guy because he's just wording, he's just playing around with his words, and it's pretty clear and obvious to me that he doesn't believe any of this stuff.
The fighters of the monastery are more than...
That's not what I asked you.
Are more than we can handle. We are not fighters.
That's not the question I asked you.
You asked
You're
what the
just dancing
families
around the statement.
You asked what the families were afraid of, right?
What the families of the children who are at the monastery, those people, you truly believe they exist? Because I grew up with most of the kids who are in there now, and none of them had families, me included.
Well, this is obviously a recent thing. They've started upping their numbers for only Pantora knows why.
There weren't any more children in there than when I grew up there.
Well, maybe there are less homeless kids, so they have to bolster their numbers elsewhere.
What I hear is that you subscribe to a deity that brings children into the world. You have no youth program set up, but you would prefer to see children suffering out on the streets rather than be organized in a group outside of your own.
I don't want to...
You're willing to make baseless claims that these families exist and they're grieving at home. If these families exist, they're more than welcome to come take their children.
He's starting to look real flustered, and he starts looking around at some of the other priests, and he looks back at you and he says, I think that these questions are over. I think you should leave. You're obviously not here to facilitate any communication. You're just here to bully us on behalf of the monastery.
We've offered a reasonable solution to this problem that you claim exists.
Well, they're not good enough for us. Now, please.
Not unless all the children just starve on the streets. Because none of them have families.
No, they want to be let in to the monastery. But the problem at hand is, what is to stop them from claiming that all of the children that belong there are not these said missing children? And once they're identified, that's what you're hoping to achieve. We can smell it. So why don't we go get the city involved since you're having such a hard time?
If you could get those criminals on the city council to actually lift a finger to help us, then you will earn more trust than you have in just sitting here spitting your hate at me.
Vile, sir, not hate. You've given me no reason to hate you, but your actions here have been very upsetting.
Well, if you're here to help the children, then prove it.
We'll do just that. Come on, guys.
So we're gonna go see Ezilla's friend.
Before I walk out, Rhinox tops a loogie, a nice acid loogie, just right on the floor before he walks out.
Give him that hot tua.
Give him the hot tua. Spit on that thing, dude.
Spit on that floor. It starts like eating through the stone floor, and everybody, like a few people, like scream, and a bunch of other people gasp because you guys started drawing some attention towards the end there, especially when the priest started getting a little more heated. And you walk out, so you head to the city hall, the Capitol building.
Yeah, we may as well.
Yep.
Okay. Are you looking for Stitch?
Not specifically. I guess they said that they've spoken to somebody about it, so I would like to inquire at the desk if they're aware of the strange situation between the monastery and Panthora.
What kind of evidence has been presented?
And also gauge their reaction, because if they are indeed corrupt, then we don't know what we're walking into.
It's very true. Okay, so you guys get to the Capitol building. I'm not gonna move you around anymore.
Okay.
And as you walk in, you see the front desk person. Is a different front desk person than the last time you came in. And they go, "Hello and welcome. How can we help you today?"
Hi, I'm looking for some assistance. My friend here is a member of the monastery, and so we've recently been made aware of the tensions going on in the city concerning the Church of Panthora and allegations of missing children.
Oh, those. I can't really speak to any of that right now. Let me see if somebody is available that knows a little bit more.
Thank you so much.
And they kind of shuffle off. The front desk person comes back down the stairs, and in tow is a Dragonborn, a brass Dragonborn that is dressed in a really nice like suit, like a press tunic and large, not a cloak, kind of like a robe, but like open. Okay, so the brass Dragonborn comes up to you guys and introduces himself. He says, "Hello, I'm Elbrick Yorman. I heard that you had some questions about the ongoing tension between the Church of Pantora and the monastery."
Yes, we had stopped by the monastery to catch up for our friend here, who is a previous member. He's lived among them, and we tried to facilitate some negotiations between the Church of Pantora, and it seems like they would feel more comfortable if there were intervention made by a third party.
Yes, well, therein lies the problem. They did come to us and asked us for help. Unfortunately, they seem to refuse to produce the families of the victims, and we are not in the habit of getting in the way of the various religions. We are a diverse and multicultural country here, and that is not more apparent anywhere than here in the Iron Docks.
Pretty easily resolve this whole thing.
We don't want to step in and start enforcing sanctions and investigations of one religion and be accused of favoritism. Most disconcerting is the complete lack of evidence. They keep saying that they have families of the victims. Our town guard is yet to meet any of these families. Yes, well, they seem to want it resolved, but they only want it resolved one way, and they're not making it easy to work with them.
Well, I feel like this puts our fingers in a bind. What I was hoping to see is if we had an offer to make them, because what they're saying is that these families are afraid of the monastery itself, and for that reason they don't want to come forward to claim their children. But if offering guard from the city, who is a neutral party, and the harboring of minors would be considered a crime in most places, knowing that that offer was available would be enough to substantiate that they have no evidence and that their claims are false.
The council has already decided that their claims are unsubstantiated. We are doing damage control at this point. We're trying to stop some form of conflict from breaking out. I have to say, if conflict does break out, I don't have a whole lot of hope for the parishioners of Pantora. I'm not saying that the monastery's only purpose is to train fighters, but that is a part of what they do. And they have much more support among the city due to a lot of the work that they do. So there aren't a whole lot of citizens that aren't Pantora worshippers that would stand with Pantora.
Well, let it be noted that we have come by, and the monastery is more than willing to negotiate means of communication, but we're not sure. We're not sure to what end. They can't turn over the children. So just let it be noted that they're willing to cooperate. And it seems like it's already been the story before we got here. Well,
yes, it does. It's been a couple of weeks since this started, and starting to get a bit heated, and it's starting to make us a bit nervous.
Well, Councilman, I thank you very much for your time, but it seems like we still need to choose a path to see if we can sort this out. So we'll let you get along with your busy schedule, and thank you so much for coming to speak with us.
Yes, thank you for trying to help. You know, it's not often outsiders take an interest in the issues that our city sees. Just know, if you do decide to take things into your own hands, we do frown greatly on violence here.
Understood. I'm sure there's a much more difficult and creative way that we can go about this, but I'm up for the challenge. And I know Brynox is too.
I like difficult.
Yeah, leaving things like this would leave a sour taste in my mouth. Or maybe that's just the acid left over.
Yes, we have some mouthwash in the downstairs bathroom if you need to. I noticed it looked like you might use some. No offense.
None taken. I'll take you up on that.
Okay, so let's go ahead and leave.
Okay. You walk out. Are you going back to the monastery?
No, we need to grab some food and figure out what the fuck.
Okay. Are you so tavern?
Tavern.
Okay, so you guys order some food and are discussing how to move forward?
Yeah. It looks like we will have to figure this one out. Any type of violence that we use will only make the monastery look more guilty. Just about everybody besides these worshippers of Pantora believe that this is all cockamamie.
Yeah, at the end,
Maybe it could try doing Zone of Truth at the monastery and having the kids stand in the circle, and we ask them if their parents are alive.
my concern is that no matter how much evidence we prove that there's no foul play happening, they'll just deny it with some bullshit. It's like at this point, all
True.
they're really doing is being a major annoyance. Like it might.
Is there any
It,
way to summon their god?
They
I don't know if we would want to. He seems like a douche.
they can speak to him. They've been speaking to him. That was kind of what kicked off this whole thing. Was partially the priest talking to Pantora and being told that he needs to help these families.
Well, I was thinking maybe if we were to invite them into the monastery with their followers in tow to observe falseness of their claims, that might be something, but we'll have to have some type of safeguard.
You have a lot of faith in people.
right,
I
because
mean,
they're
Zone of
just going to
Truth.
say that the kids are brainwashed or that the spell was faulty or
Well, it's kind of why I wanted to involve the city. But
Lynn, do me a favor and roll a religion check.
I'm wondering if this is a Wizard of Oz type situation.
19.
19. Alexter told you that Pantora had not made contact with the mortal
Yeah.
plane.
I mean, that's what we might need to figure out is what has brought on this change in the last 2 weeks within the priests and expose them. I have
right.
a
What do they want to happen with these children? It seems like they really want them for something. Maybe there's some sort of nefarious goal that they have in mind.
Maybe they're just trying to get inside the monastery.
To do
Maybe.
And they
what?
thought that would be
I
the
mean,
best. I don't know. I don't know the monastery.
that would be impressive.
It's not like we're hiding a bunch of riches or anything in there.
I feel like
We have nothing to lose but the children, really.
I feel like they might want a fighting force of their own, but they don't know where to start. So what would they do? Go and find means of absorbing the young fighting force that's already there down the street. And they might have just figured out a way to do it, but they're struggling because they know it's face value.
Well, it doesn't seem like they'll ever succeed unless they themselves got violent, but even if they tried, it wouldn't work out too well for them.
Which is a big part of why they haven't just tried to storm the monastery.
Right, I don't see any way for them to accomplish their goals, but they're not giving up either, so it's hard for me to fathom really what their goal is. how badly they want these children, just so that they can ignore them on the streets.
Let's see, how can we... I feel like what we'll have to do is impersonate a follower to get in to find answers, or we could try tailing them, but who knows how long that'll take. Something's at the root of this that we're overlooking. So how do we get at that?
Lynn, roll an insight check. A post-conversation insight check while you're thinking back to the conversation that you had with the high priest.
14.
He really seems to believe that he talked to his god, which doesn't really make sense, because if Pantora hasn't had any contact with the material plane yet, you're not really sure. Like, there's no way he could have spoken to this high priest. And the high priest seemed to be honest about the fact that he had talked to his god.
Azilla is played by Lynn, Brynox is played by Bryson, Harl is played by Anna, Mongo is played by Emily, Reginald is played by Zach, your GM is Rob. Executive producers Rob and Zach, sound mastering by Zach, video editing by Rob. Virtual tabletop is by Tailspire, minis are provided by Hero Forge, artwork is provided by TZN, and our music is from Pawns Are Kings.